Hey guys, what's going on? This is California Transit Nerd, and welcome to my second episode on alternative history for Amtrak California. So today we're going to be talking about 2000 to 2010, and my joke here is NEC, here we come, because we're going to make the California system better than the NEC. So in 2001, we'd reached service goals. The Capital Corridor, which is running San Jose to Sacramento hourly, is at 16 round trips. The San Joaquin, which is running Bakersfield to Sacramento, is at 6 round trips, and the Bakersfield to Oakland is also running at 6 round trips. So those services alternate. So in the Central Valley, for much of the run, you actually have a train every hour as well. So the Surfliner is running at 90 miles an hour because that got ITCS, and that's running Santa Barbara to San Diego every hour. Coast Daylight, which also has ITCS, is running 90 miles an hour, and that's doing Oakland to Santa Barbara. And finally, we have the Spirit of California Sleeper, which is running most of the route at 90 miles an hour, with some sections with the section north of Oakland being at 80 miles an hour. So, in 2010, here are the service goals. Capital Corridor, the section between San Jose and Oakland, will get fully upgraded to support 110 miles an hour. Some trains will get extended to Reno, and service will double. Also introduced is a new service, the Shasta Daylight, running Sacramento to Oroville to Chico, and then through a new connector going over to Chico and then on to Redding. That running every 4 hours and doing 4 round trips. The San Joaquin Daylight, because there's been a rebranding of service as well, that's going to get sped up to 90 miles an hour to try and stop needing a crew change, because right now the route is just slightly over 6 hours. And so that crew change is real expensive. So they're trying to get rid of that. The service from Bakersfield to Sacramento now gets branded as the Sacramento Daylight. That's again aiming for that 90 miles an hour because they share most of the same route. The Surfliner, the target is to get to that full 110 miles per hour and to run two trains an hour, which is 32 round trips, plus a little bit of peak. So in the AM and PM, where the first trains would normally be leaving Santa Barbara, or the last trains would be reaching, So this peak service here is so the first trains that leave Santa Barbara, say at 6 a.m., then your first train to LA wouldn't leave till 8 a.m. So this is that extra couple trains to fill in that gap. And the same on the north end, except trains end in Los Angeles instead of continuing on. So you don't have trains show up at 3 a.m. in the morning or whatever. Because it's 4 hours at this point. It'll be 4 hours between Los Angeles and San Diego at the end. So the Coast Daylight also going to get that 110 miles per hour. We're keeping that same 6 round trips. We're going to add another trip to the Spirit of California, and again, it'll be running between 80 and 110 miles an hour. So here's the here's the planned times for this. Surfliner is trying to get under 4, Coast Daylight under 5. Oh, sorry. I need to adjust that. Sacramento Daylight should be under 6. So looking towards the future, the state in 2010 needs a larger fleet. So in 2003, they order some more equipment. They order 13 new 5-car sets from the Surfliner, so that's made by Alstom, and 9 new 6-car sets for the Surfliner, again from Alstom, and 2 new sleeper sets, which are coming from Alstom, who bought up Bombardier and has the rights to the bi-level Superliner cars. So that'll give us 45 car sets, 22 6-car sets, and 4 sleepers. Incremental Train Control System, or ITCS. It's a positive train control. It's also deployed on Amtrak's Michigan line. It overlays with the CTC system. And so by 2000, it's cleared for 90 miles an hour. So it does a number of things. It's cab signaling. However, it also adjusts crossing gates so that crossing gates close with the correct amount of time. It does a number of things. So by 2004, it gets cleared for 100 miles an hour. So that cuts some good time off a lot of these. And by 2007, it gets cleared for the full 110 miles per hour. So there is 620 miles under this system. The San Francisco to San Jose is 60. The Oakland to San Jose is 50, and there's 510 from San Jose to San Diego. So basically, This kind of splits the fleet between units that are compatible with ITCS and units that are not. So there are some cabs and some locomotives which don't have the system installed at this point in time. So in 2003, an operations maintenance facility is needed for Caltrain because they are tired of continuing to have to ship stuff up, and Amtrak California needs a new yard. So they decide to combine their yards and pick a single spot. So Communication Hill in San Jose, this is just a little bit south of San Jose, Diridon, is picked. So it's at this point it's a quarry and just beginning. There's some proposals for housing around it and stuff, but it's decided that they want to share a facility. So the goal is to support 50 6-car trains, given the planned growth of both of the services. So to do that, the plan is 15 ladder tracks with 2,400 feet on the long end, 1,600 feet on the short end for those ladder tracks. A wash track, a 6-bay operations and maintenance facility, which ends up coming out to support about 60 sets in storage at any given time, plus the sets being maintained. This is a big maintenance facility. A combination of state funding, federal funding, and local money gets used to this. But this is going to be the big shop area for Amtrak California. There's the smaller facility down in San Diego that does a lot of the lighter maintenance. That does a lot of the kind of middle tier maintenance stuff. But this is California's heavy shop. So in 2004, Union Pacific is not very happy with us. Union Pacific doesn't like the ITCS system. It does not like the fact that because the state owns the lines, the state's forcing these tight time slots and high reliability requirements. Right? UP is getting fined huge sums when engines break down because they're disrupting this very tightly planned timetable. So UP wants the state to find a new carrier. The state decides, okay, with some capital funding from UP, we will take over operations. So in 2006, the handover is set. So UP buys new locomotives, and the state will create its own state railway, which is going to be the California Interstate Railway using the porting marks CDTR. That's California Department of Transit Railway. And Amtrak California's equipment is all under CDTX, the California Department of Transit Private Cars. So this is the network plan. So the state also approaches many of the short lines along the line and says, hey, do you want to get bought out? And they agree. So we will be running just south. So we have trackage rights into Oakland, the Port of Oakland. We're going to run south along the coastline down to San Jose. We have trackage rights all the way to San Francisco. Down the coastline, we take over trackage rights into Santa Cruz. Monterey, at this point, does not have its rail line active. All the coastline, there's a short line between Guadalupe, the GAU, and Santa Maria. We take over that. When we get to Ventura, there's the Ventura line that heads east to Santa Clarita. We take over that. There's a short one around Oxnard. We take over that. And then we take over UP's trackage rights from Lancaster south on Metrolink. So the state decides on just a pair of engines. We get 26 brand new SD70 ACEs, and we get 60 MP20 ACs. So these are both tier 2 emissions, and the other big thing for the state is they both get ordered with EMD 710. So the EMD 710 is the common engine for the entire state. So our mechanics know how to work on them and stuff. So let's see. Oh, I don't have an image of it. Okay. So the MP20 AC is probably going to end up being, I'll stick an image in here after the fact, like the GP20D, which I believe was primarily brought by City Leasing Company. So, except these get built with V8 EMB 710s and AC traction motors. So these are very much show a road switcher. They have very nice high visibility cabs, and the state buys a ton of them because we have so many short lines that we're taking over in a bunch of this. This also really makes a bunch of the environmental groups happy to see the state investing in new clean engines and retiring a lot of pre-tier 0 emissions locomotives. So the 2007 recession happens. And so the state is exploring ways to support jobs, reduce costs, and look at what money the federal government is going to kick in. So there's a couple of projects that are proposed: electrification of the entire main line, Caltrain and some of Metrolinx's lines, grade separations, and rebuilding some of the F-59s. The state ends up rebuilding the F-59s to Tier 2 emission standards. A couple grade separations happen with state and federal funding. However, electrification does not happen. In 2008, California High-Speed Rail, Prop 1A passes. However, some things about it have changed. The state, at this point now fairly comfortable with running a railway, recognizes the fact that it's going to need more funding. So instead of the initial $10 billion plan, there is $20 billion put forward. The US 99 route is still chosen, and the project is phased. Merced to Bakersfield is phase 1, part A. Moderna to San Francisco is part 1B. Bakersfield to Anaheim is part 1C. Merced to Sacramento will then come after that. So after the entire phase 1 part of the project is done, Merced to Sacramento will get done, and finally Los Angeles to San Diego via the Inland Empire. So this bond measure is trying to get so the bond measure's primary focus is the phase 1A, so that's Merced to Bakersfield and San Francisco to Gilroy. So the goal is to get both those done, ready for high-speed rail, and then use federal money to link the two. So that'll be building the section basically between Gilroy and the Y, just south of Merced. So what does this mean? Well, SF to Gilroy is quad tracked and grade separated. The state knows it's building a bit more infrastructure than it needs along the peninsula, but it is so busy, and these projects, the state decides that it is easier to elevate the rail line and build viaducts and stabilized earth 4 tracks wide from the start, put up wires, do all that at once instead of doing some weird phased approach. And the state extends that all the way to Gilroy for the Caltrains that will be running south of there, and also for high-speed rail. So this does leave the LA region a bit high and dry, which LA politicians are not happy about. There's a push of, well, what's going to happen to LA? And so there's a number of proposals, one of which involves 6 tracking from Burbank Station all the way into LA in 4 conventional lines, 2 of which will be used, 2 of which will eventually split off towards Antelope Valley and the Palmdale line, 2 of which will continue along the coastline, and 2 of which will be used for high-speed rail. So that's the state. The state has a plan in place for that section of the line. There's a potential that some amount of this initial funding will get used on that line. So looking back, what do we have by 2010? The operations and maintenance facility got completed by 2005. Traffic on the freight rail line has grown. 110 mile per hour ITCS is happening. The planning and design has started for SF to Gilroy. California High-Speed Rail is starting to design. UP is talking about selling more lines in the Central Valley because they have realized, and they just don't want to deal with this anymore. Their primary focus at this point is on the long-haul freight business. Most of the F-59s have been rebuilt to Tier 2 by 2009 with a plan to complete the newest units, and the service goals were reached. So we have very frequent service on the 2 most used parts of the line. Most of the state by this point is connected by rail, which is a great thing. It is more and more popular. At this point, we are coming up on NEC levels of ridership. If you like this video, don't forget to like it. Please share and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.